The Pentagon's acceptance of a $130 million anonymous donation, reportedly from reclusive billionaire and major Republican donor Timothy Mellon, to help pay active-duty troops during a government shutdown, has ignited a profound controversy over the rule of law, political influence, and the integrity of federal funding. While framed by President Trump as a patriotic act by a friend to alleviate the financial stress on service members, the move represents an unprecedented and legally dubious reliance on private wealth to fund a core government obligation. Summary and analysis. The $130 million gift was given on the condition that it be used to offset the cost of service members' salaries and benefits during the prolonged government funding lapse. The Pentagon confirmed its acceptance under its General Gift Acceptance Authority. The donor was later identified by media as Timothy Mellon, a massive political contributor to Trump and conservative causes. Analysis of the controversy. Legality versus morality. The donation poses a direct conflict between the moral imperative to pay troops and the strict legal framework of federal budget law. The Pentagon's acceptance is widely considered a potential violation of the Anti-Deficiency Act, ADA. The Anti-Deficiency Act, ADA, the ADA strictly prohibits federal agencies from spending funds in advance or in excess of congressional appropriations, and from accepting voluntary services or gifts that circumvent Congress's constitutional power of the purse. Critics argue that using private money for military payroll, a cost explicitly requiring an appropriation, is a clear breach of this fundamental law. The Pentagon's General Gift Acceptance Authority is typically restricted to specific purposes, like hospitals or schools, not general operations and salaries. Symbolic versus substantive. While the amount is significant, it covers only a fraction of the military's multi-billion-dollar bi-weekly payroll. It serves primarily as a political statement, highlighting the financial stress of the shutdown and attempting to place the onus of non-payment on the opposing political party, rather than a sustainable fiscal solution. Reasons and consequences. Reasons for the donation. Political leverage and PR. The donation provides the administration with a powerful narrative, an act of patriotism, overcoming congressional failure, deflecting blame for the shutdown's impact on the military. Donor's political alignment. Mellon is a longtime colossal backer of Trump. The donation is a highly visible act of support for the president and his stated priorities, caring for the military, cementing their relationship and the donor's influence. Genuine concern for troops. For the donor, the stated motivation is a sincere desire to prevent service members and their families from enduring financial hardship, especially given that military personnel deemed accepted essential personnel must work without pay during a shutdown. Consequences and ramifications. Erosion of congressional authority. The most serious consequence is the precedent set for using private funds to discharge a constitutional public duty. It undermines Congress's control over federal spending, the power of the purse, by allowing a wealthy private citizen to unilaterally inject funds into the executive branch's operations. Ethical and transparency concerns. The initial anonymity fueled speculation, including the risk of foreign influence, which compromises national security interests. Even after Mellon's identity was revealed, his status as a major political donor raises serious questions about potential quid pro quo or undue influence over Pentagon decisions or government policy. Setting a dangerous precedent. If accepted and used without congressional approval, this move suggests that any future government service deemed essential but stalled by a shutdown, e.g., air traffic control, border patrol, could be funded by wealthy individuals or private entities, turning federal funding into a matter of private charity and donor whim. Harming service member morale. The controversy and the realization that their pay is dependent on a political donor rather than the stable function of their government can damage the morale and trust of the all-volunteer force. Predictions and solutions. Prediction. The legality of the use of the funds will likely be challenged by watchdog groups, Congress, or the Government Accountability Office, GAO. The funds will likely be held in escrow by the Treasury Department until Congress explicitly legislates how to handle the money. It is highly improbable that the Pentagon will be able to legally disperse the funds for salaries without an authorizing resolution from Congress, that specifically modifies the ADA for this one-time gift. Solutions for future shutdowns. The fundamental issue is the vulnerability of essential personnel, especially the military, to political funding stalemates. Permanent legislative solutions are necessary. Permanent pay legislation. The most straightforward solution is for Congress to pass permanent, standalone legislation that automatically and perpetually appropriates funding for all active duty military and essential civilian personnel in the event of a funding lapse. This would remove military pay as a political bargaining chip. Reform the Anti-Deficiency Act, ADA. Congress could create a narrowly tailored statutory exception within the ADA to allow the Pentagon to accept bona fide private donations for specific, non-payroll purposes, like hardship assistance, during a shutdown, clearly distinguishing this from the use of funds for government salaries. Mandatory continuing resolutions. Institutionalizing a mandatory short-term continuing resolution that automatically funds the government at current levels for a brief period, e.g., 30 days, upon an appropriation failure, would provide a cooling-off period and prevent immediate catastrophic lapses in pay.